This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to Good Morning Uganda on this special Friday edition. Now, this Friday we have news that is extra special, if there is something like that. So welcome, thank you so much for joining us. This is Good Morning Uganda. We are coming live to you from our studios here at Nile Avenue, the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation studios. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am flying with Joram Paul Sonko. And together, we are going to get you into some of the news that broke out last night. Maybe some of you were sleeping already, the early birders. But what we do here is bring you the breaking news and, of course, give you topical discussion. So sit tight because this Good Morning Uganda is going to be interesting. Now, in the spirit of congratulations, I would like to congratulate the lady that won the Dokoro Woman Member of Parliament by election. My goodness, that was something. And she has gone on to show that UPC, that is Uganda People's Congress, has power in that area. Now, the lady who won this election is none other than Sarah Aguti from the Uganda People's Congress party. Now, this by-election occurred because the former woman member of parliament for the region, Cecilia Ogwal, passed on from cancer earlier this year in January, and so there had to be a by-election, and among the contenders was one of her daughters. Now, Sarah Agoti won the vote by 23,044 votes. My goodness, that was quite a feat. And of course, we have others that came in. Of course, the person who came in second is Adong Janet Rose Elau Okelo with 14,001 votes. Now, Elau is the daughter to the former or the fallen member of parliament, Cecilia Ogwal. Jerome Paul, good morning. I'm even losing my voice and losing my words because this was no small feat.
Indeed, it wasn't a small feat. Good morning to you, though, and good morning to our dear viewer. Looking at it from my angle, I've come to realize that it does seem like Dokolo wants the opposition in power, according to what I've actually realized. And the mere fact that you've seen UPC, a party that to many doesn't look to be very vocal when it comes to Uganda's political space, is now making strides in Dokolo, because 23,000 votes clearly show that they were actually miles ahead of others. Because when you look at the runners up, that was from NRM, Honorable Adong Janet Rose Elao Okello. She could only gather around 14,001. And Aguti Sarah, 23,044. That's a huge gap between them. And of course, the other observation that I was able to realize was the fact that not only was the UPC in this race, but it took us back to the days of the early 2001, 2006, where the main parties that were actually contesting, even for leadership of this country, were UPC, FDC, NRM, and well, DP. But of course here you get to realize that the Democratic Party was not represented. So you can easily see that the party that was represented was the National Unit Platform, which of course when you look at the rankings of the votes that were cast yesterday, it does show that the National Unit Platform was number 4 in the ratings. They were actually represented by Ageno Harriet, who only gathered 727. So the battle entirely was amongst the UPC, FDC, and NRM, of which the UPC came out as the winner. So again, FDC was actually represented by Rock Austin Ogwal Rosemary, who is the daughter of the late Honorable Cecilia Ogwal. And I was seeing many people coming out to say that it seems like the people in Dokolo also said no to hereditary politics at the end of it all.
You know, this is one of the few times when a child of the deceased or the fallen member of parliament has actually not taken up the mantle. Because we remember this has been the norm over a couple of years, starting with Proscovia, was it Proscovia Alengot, whose father died, and she joined parliament at the age of 19, making news as the youngest member of parliament to ever be in Uganda. But also now we know that the former Speaker of Parliament, that is Jacob Olanya, his son is in parliament because the people of that area decided to vote him to replace his father, and many more over the years. So this is a difference, and the fact that she got 8,000 votes, and yet the winner had 14,000 votes. It speaks volumes.
Indeed, it does speak volumes, and we continue to congratulate her upon this particular victory of leading the people of Dokolo. It's not an easy one because the competition was really tight,
it was
if you
stiff.
to ask me, because
yes,
even the president had to go in Dokolo to rally for the NRM candidate. You can easily see how difficult that was, really.
Exactly, and you know, I like the fact that sometimes the president can actually rally for someone and that person doesn't win. What am I saying? It shows that the election, in as much as the song has always been, oh, the elections were not free and fair. Okay, let someone come now and tell us that the election wasn't free and fair. Okay. After even the NRM candidate losing, how did she fare? Well, how many votes did she have?
Well, when you look at it from the NRM candidate, 14,000. She was actually the second.
Oh, she was the second. Yeah,
clearly shows you, though the gap was still there. Because if the other one is 23 and you're 14, that is close to, that is a range of about 8,000 or actually 9,000.
Oh, yes, the winner had 23,044 votes. And the NRM candidate had 14,000 votes. And of course, FDC, that was represented by the former Dokolo woman member of parliament, the late Cecilia Ogwal. Her daughter represented FDC, and she garnered 8,168 votes. Now, there was an independent, that is Esther Obot Kulo, with 790 votes, and Ageno Harriet, the NUP candidate, had 727 votes. Now, there was also another independent who had 439 votes. That's what the Dokolo by-election looks like, and these are the results from the returning officer. We have a new member of parliament in the names of Sarah Aguti from the Uganda People's Congress. But now we move on. More exciting news coming your way. And of course, the president did a thing last night. And this thing now is in two things actually, but let's start with one. There was a reshuffle. Should I call it a reshuffle or a promotion in the army? Well, the powers that be, and of course, the commander-in-chief of the Uganda People's Defense Forces and Uganda at large, that is the president, appointed and promoted some individuals within the defense forces. The president of the Republic of Uganda and commander-in-chief of the UPDF has appointed and promoted the following general and senior officers as follows. General Wilson Mbasu Mbadi was appointed Minister of State for Trade in the Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba was appointed the Chief of Defense Forces. Lieutenant General Peter Elwelu was appointed Senior Presidential Advisor. Lieutenant General Samuel Okiding was appointed Deputy Chief of Defense Forces. Major General Leopold Eric Chanda was appointed Defense Attaché. Major General Jackson Bakasumba appointed Joint Chief of Staff. And Brigadier General David Mugisha promoted a Major General. Colonel Asaf Nyachikuru was promoted Brigadier General. And of course, we congratulate these officers upon these new appointments. There is a wind of change in the defense forces and in the country, as we have seen. Now, Sonko, with this new development and these new appointments and promotions, what do you think is going on in the realm of the defense forces? And are you confident with the new appointments and promotions?
Confidence is the word I am. And of course, because when the chief in command really comes out to appoint someone, they've actually seen the potential they have.
Yes.
And the confidence, I think I'm really confident with the new CDF because he has been in the army rankings for quite some time.
Yes.
Served so well.
Promoted to general last year. Was
exactly.
it last year?
So
the other year?
when you look at all the promotions he has actually been getting and serving without having issues within the office he has actually been appointed to
Yes.
previously. So it clearly shows that there is a vote of confidence that the president saw in him. And again, a huge congratulations to the new chief of defense forces. And of course here, the team and all Ugandans want to wish you all the best as you take on this particular mantle. And of course, the one who was actually chief of defense forces is now a minister of state.
Yes.
And you know, you get to realize that the reshuffles have actually been there, appointments, reshuffles, change of office, if I'm to put it in that way. And many Ugandans should definitely be putting all their eyes on this particular one. I'm looking at how analysts, political analysts in Uganda are going to have a busy week come next week
yes,
in regards to analyzing and looking
actually,
deep into the political space of Uganda.
Starting this weekend, I'm curious to know what there is a famous show that I won't mention, but we know this is its area of concentration, and I would like to listen to it tomorrow on one of the local FM stations and hear what the political commentators have to say. Well, there was, as we move on, actually, from there, now we got to another. I mean, the president just made news for us here in Uganda. But of course, I also know that some people slept very happily, whereas others not so happily. So as it happens, the president also gave us another sort of news, and of course there was a slight change and reshuffle of the cabinet. The president said that by the virtue of the authority given to him by Articles 108, Clause Section 2 and 108A, Clause Section 1, 113, Clause Section 1 and 114, Clause Section 1 of the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, and he said that he he was publishing a slightly amended list of the cabinet of Uganda. Now, this was shared on the President X app page, and of course, it went viral when it was shared. Good news, and for some, not so good news. Now, the list goes, the Vice President of Uganda remains Honorable Jessica Alupo, and the Prime Minister remains Right Honorable Robina Nabanja. Then when we speak about cabinet ministers, we have the First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, East African Community Affairs, that is Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. Second Deputy Prime Minister is Right Honorable General Moses Ali. Third Deputy Prime Minister and Minister without portfolio, that is Honorable Lukia Nakadama. Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Museveni Janeti Kataha. And the Minister of the President, that is for the presidency, that is Miss Mariam Doka Babalanda. And the Minister, Office of the President, in charge of security is Honorable Jim Muhwez. Minister, Office of the President, Service by the State House. Comptroller in charge of Science, Technology and Innovation is Dr. Monica Msenero. Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs is Hajat Minsa Kabanda. Minister, Office of the Prime Minister, General Duties is Right Honorable Kasule Lumumba. Government Chief Whip is Obua Dennis Hampson. Minister, Office of the Prime Minister, that is Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, is Honorable Onek Hillary. Minister for Karamoja Affairs is Honorable Peter Lokeris. Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries is Honorable Frank Tumwebaze. And Minister of Constitutional Affairs is Honorable Norbert Mao. And the Attorney General remains Mr. Chiriowa Chiwanka. The Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs is Honorable Oboth Maxon Jacob. Minister of Energy and Mineral Development is Honorable Ruth Nankabira. Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development is Honorable Matia Kasaija. Minister of Foreign Affairs remains Honorable Jeje Odong Abubeka. And Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development is Honorable Betty Amongi. Minister of Health, Honorable Jane Ruth Acheng. Minister of Information, Communications, Technology and National Guidance is Dr. Chris Baliomonsi. Now, we have so many that were appointed, but there is a name that made rounds on social media. We have a new minister, and I'll let Sonko do the honors.
It's the Minister of State, now Minister of State. And of course, this is where many Ugandans have actually been coming out to say, it seems that this is the only gentleman as of now who should tell them that hard work pays. Others are actually saying that it does show that if you are on the right path in life and you continuously do what you're supposed to do, then the chances are you will definitely get the bigger spaces, even in government. And of course, this gentleman we're talking about is none other than Balaam Barugahari. And of course, Balaam is now the Minister of State for Gender, Labor and Social Development, but responsible for youth and gender and children affairs, rather.
Now, the appointment of Balaam as the Minister of Gender and Social Development in charge of youth and children's affairs, and also the appointment of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba as the CDF, that is Chief Defense Forces, has also started off another conversation. Where does this leave PLU?
I want to think it gives them a chance to also understand how the government works. Because remember, they are not a political party, they are more like a movement. And when you look at the chances that those that belong to the PLU, because many of the members of the PLU are excited that many of their members have been highly considered in this cabinet. So we wait and see what is what 2026, by the way, is going to avail to us in terms of the political space. It's going to be a good one for us, the onlookers, by the way. And I can't be more excited to wait for 2025 than I am today.
Well, there is argument that the appointment of these two gentlemen, that is now the Chief Defense Forces General Muhoozi Kainerugaba and Balaam Barugahara as minister and the other one as CDF, is basically a barrio of PLU, a very young pressure group that was just formed. Is it even 2 months yet? Not yet. And now, because we know that as CDF, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba cannot, because of the UPDF Act, cannot participate in what do you call it? In politics. Okay? And then Balaam is supposed now to serve the country as a minister. So the pressure group is kind of exposed.
You know, one thing I love about Ugandan politics is that it will always shock you. And I'm ready for any surprises that will happen whatsoever. That's why I'm just an onlooker in regards to anything that is happening. And, well, we wait to see. And for us, the many Ugandans out there, I want to believe we are all looking to see what is there to offer, especially in the political space. Interesting times are coming ahead, but we can only wait to see how we benefit and how the country moves forward.
Okay, well, interesting news. But still, before we move on, let's not forget that some ministers were actually dropped. And of course, these include two ladies, the Minister for Karamoja Affairs, that is Mary Goreti Chitutu, and her deputy, is she a deputy? Okay, the State Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Agnes Nandutu. Both of the ladies that were embroiled in the Mabati scandal were dropped.
I feel for Honorable Agnes Nandutu. I really feel for her because it's your first time in Parliament, and not only that, you got the chance to get into cabinet, which was a sign of blessings, if you're to ask me. Very huge sign of blessing. And a twist of things, just after 3 years in office, things don't go out as planned. It's hard luck for her, I should say. Why I'm actually feeling for her is because she's someone who has been doing the same job that we're actually doing for quite some time before she actually turned into a politician. But well, it's hard luck, but I wait to see how she will rise up again. 2026 is here. If she will get back onto that ballot, it's always a good way to come back and change the bad side of it, because every politician has got some, bad history. But how you come back and change says a lot about you.
Well, it is interesting news that is happening in the land of the Pearl of Africa. And as we do always here on Good Morning Uganda, we bring you the details, we bring you the breaking news. And we'll be following up on these news stories to see what happens next. Among the ministers that were dropped is Vincent Bamlangachi Sempija, who now became a presidential advisor. But we move on to the news that we have been able to gather for you this morning. And we start with President Museveni in Rengo, and he has issued a stern warning to government, school head teachers and school management committees to immediately halt the practice of soliciting illegal fees from parents, saying those that don't comply will be dealt with. The president's remarks come amidst ongoing concerns about schools charging unauthorized fees despite government programs like Universal Primary Education and Universal Secondary Education guaranteeing free education. Museveni said this while addressing residents of Rengo at Mbirizi Seed School, where he graced the fundraising event for a district Muslim headquarters and health center 4. The president contributed 200 million shillings for that cause, and he also pledged to deploy the UPDF Engineers Brigade to help with the construction. Now moving on, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has urged the graduates of the Universal Primary Education to utilize knowledge acquired to spur economic transformation. President was represented by the Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, at the International Day of Education and the commemoration of 27 years of universal primary education. The International Education Day was held under the theme Learning for Lasting Peace, and President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was represented by his Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo. Uganda used this day to commemorate the 27 years of universal primary education with its achievements. President Museveni challenged beneficiaries of the program to exhibit economic transformation. Education Minister Janet Kataha Museveni was represented by the State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, who highlighted on critical innovations being undertaken by the ministry to match dynamism in the education sector. Education Ministry commits to review budgetary allocation to focus on ICT installation to match the current fourth industrial revolution. This will produce competitive candidates on the job markets. Now moving on to Parliament, the Leader of Opposition in Parliament, Joel Ssenyonyi, has written to the IGG and DPP Auditor General and the Financial Intelligence Authority, each to exercise their mandate and take action on the allegations of financial impropriety in Parliament. While addressing the media, Ssenyonyi said the public needs answers, and involving these agencies will help in the thorough investigations of these matters. The Office of the Leader of Opposition has continued to pursue the issues in social media about accountability in Parliament of Uganda. Despite last Friday's sitting where the issues were not given time, although had been raised by the Leader of Opposition Joel Ssenyonyi on the floor of Parliament, he has gone ahead to write to different agencies to take action. He had written to the Inspectorate of Government to investigate the allegations of financial impropriety and the Auditor General to also carry out a forensic audit into the matters of accountability. Joel has also written to the DPP to cause an investigation in the matters that will lead to prosecution. Allegations include billions of shillings that are suspected to have been going on individual accounts of some staff of Parliament. Joel has written to the Financial Intelligence Authority to follow up. According to Ssenyonyi, members of the public who came out with this information on social media are facing threats. He asked government what happened with the policy of zero tolerance to corruption.
And well, now moving on to the international scene to check out what is making headlines away from Uganda. The US has filed a landmark lawsuit against Apple, accusing the tech giant of monopolizing the smartphone market and crushing competition. In the legal action, the Justice Department alleges that the company abused its control of the iPhone App Store to lock in customers and developers. It accuses the firm of taking illegal steps to thwart apps seen as a threat and make rival products less appealing. Apple has vowed to vigorously fight the lawsuit and denies the claims. And according to Apple, after this, the sprawling complaint filed at a federal court in New Jersey, along with the Attorney General of 16 states, marks one of the biggest challenges to date for Apple, which has been fending off mounting complaints about its practices in the recent years. It does allege that Apple used a series of shape-shifting rules and restricted access to its hardware and software in a bid to boost its own profits while raising costs of customers and stifling innovation. Now elsewhere, Idaho police have captured two white supremacist gang members who have been linked to two homicides since a prison break on Wednesday. Fugitive inmate Skylar Meadi and alleged accomplice Nicholas Upena were caught in Twin Falls, Idaho. Three of these officers were injured when Upena allegedly ambushed guards while they took Meadi back to prison from a hospital. Police say both men are members of a prison gang, the Aryan Knights, and they also say it is unclear whether the escape was a gang-sanctioned event. Officials say that the pair are suspected to have been involved in two homicides while on the run since Wednesday. Idaho State Police Lieutenant Colonel Sheldon Kelly said prison shackles were found at the scene of one of the killings. Both victims were males in rural northern Idaho. Now, away from that, a Rwandan-born man has been arrested in Ohio on charges of hiding his involvement in the 1994 Rwandan genocide. Federal prosecutors accuse Eric Tabaro Nshimie of concealing his involvement in the mass murders, including personally hacking people to death. Now, Nshimie has lived in Ohio since 1995 after fraudulently gaining refugee status in the U.S., according to prosecutors. He has previously denied participating in the genocide, though, as he is due to appear in federal court in Boston at a later date. Nshimie is accused of lying to conceal his participation in one of the greatest human tragedies of all time. Homeland Security Investigation Special Agent Michael Kroll said in a statement that the government alleges his testimony in the defense of a convicted genocidaire has a calculated attempt to conceal the horrific crimes committed during the genocide. Now, we do talk matters climate, as the strain that is rising global temperatures could have on the agriculture industry and inflation around the world will likely cause food prices to increase even more, according to new research. Changes in average monthly temperatures have the strongest and most consistent correlation to productivity and inflation figures, according to a paper published in the journal Communications, Earth and Environment on Thursday. Researchers at the Potsdam Institute of Climate Impact Research in Germany looked at historical food prices in different categories of food goods across countries around the world to explore how fluctuations in different climatic conditions have historically impacted food inflation, as well as the implications of future climate change, as Max Coates, lead author of the study, revealed. Now, the higher food prices predicted in the future are tied to extreme weather events that could disrupt a sensitive global economy, as shocks to agriculture productivity is the main channel that underlies the impact of climate change to food inflation, according to Coates. And well, and that is it from the international news this morning.
Well, it seems like it's boiling everywhere.
It is.
And that pun is intended. Boiling climate-wise, boiling political-wise here in Uganda. And that's very interesting. Now we delve into the press review, and Sonkandai will be taking you through that, starting with the New Vision, which has a big pictorial of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba and says General Muhoozi, new CDF. For more details, you'll find that story in the New Vision. But also, Museveni fires 5 ministers, and some of the faces, like Agnes Nandutu, are pasted there at the front page of the New Vision. Now, UPC's Aguti wins Dokolo. And in the bit, Miss and Mr. Bukede finalists, you'll find those inside the New Vision. And moving on to Daily Monitor, it has the same pictorial of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba and says return of the general. Muhoozi's footprints in new ministers. That's what the Daily Monitor is saying. And UPC's Aguti wins Dokolo woman member of parliament by election. And the Lizard says, has generator been switched on now? Well, whatever the lizard means. And of course, plenty of jobs.
It's normally called the standby generator.
Oh, interesting. Well, there are plenty of jobs in the Daily Monitor today. And of course, in Scoop, that is the weekend magazine, it says a music creative safe with artificial intelligence. And Senyonyi in Parliament Cash Bonanza. That and more you will find in the Daily Monitor. Now, Jerome Paul Sonko is taking us across the borders in Kenya and Tanzania.
And well, in Kenya, the Daily Nation is highlighting new taxes in our 16 trillion Kenyan shillings plan. Fourth medium-term plan for 2023 to 2027 has been released. The pictorial of the central bank governor and, of course, President William Ruto at the front page of the Daily Nation. Rather, the Secretary to the Treasury is the one with the President William Ruto. And, of course, you can read about that in the Daily Nation. Then, Hail the Queen. Oktukoi wins Africa Games gold. That is in sport. Then also, Y State is mulling a TikTok ban for civil servants. as Easter meets Ramadan, here's what to expect at the cost of Mombasa. Read about that in the Daily Nation. Now, in matters health, no end in sight for doctors' strike. More of that is in the Daily Nation, as they also predict tough times ahead for the Kenyans. Now, lastly, from our press review, the Citizen newspaper in Tanzania, businesses see brighter future amid tax unease. Story is on page 2 of the Citizen. Then fresh bid to rebrand East Africa for energy investments. More of that is still in the Citizen today, as new subject combos raise queries on teachers in Tanzania. That and more is in the Citizen. Also, LATRA introduces longer commuter bus routes. Read about the transportation sector in Tanzania, still with the Citizen giving you details. Now, in matters sport, Yanga offer 36,000 free tickets for the Mamelodi match. Read about that. And lastly, the Rising Woman Citizen series for Palingo. It's all about the ability to work under pressure and satisfying clients. More of that is in the Citizen. And that is it from our press review this Friday.
Well, this Friday has started off on a high note, and what we do on the Friday special is take you even on a higher note. So please stick with us. We are going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with a topical discussion in our newsreel. Studies show that more and more men are entrusting their wives or their women and partners as their next of kin. But women are actually not doing the same. What do you have to say about that? We'll be right back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere.
Federal prosecutors accuse Eric Tabaro Nshimie of concealing his involvement in the mass murders, including personally hacking people to death. Now, Nshimie has lived in Ohio since 1995 after fraudulently gaining refugee status in the U.S., according to prosecutors. He has previously denied participating in the genocide, though, as he is due to appear in federal court in Boston at a later date. Nshimie is accused of lying to conceal his participation in one of the greatest human tragedies of all time. Homeland Security Investigation Special Agent Michael Kroll said in a statement that the government alleges his testimony in the defense of a convicted genocidaire has a calculated attempt to conceal the horrific crimes committed during the genocide. Now, we do talk matters climate, as the strain that is rising global temperatures could have on the agriculture industry and inflation around the world will likely cause food prices to increase even more, according to new research. Changes in average monthly temperatures have the strongest and most consistent correlation to productivity and inflation figures, according to a paper published in the journal Communications, Earth and Environment on Thursday. Researchers at the Potsdam Institute of Climate Impact Research in Germany looked at historical food prices in different categories of food goods across countries around the world to explore how fluctuations in different climatic conditions have historically impacted food inflation, as well as the implications of future climate change, as Max Coates, lead author of the study, revealed. Now, the higher food prices predicted in the future are tied to extreme weather events that could disrupt a sensitive global economy, as shocks to agriculture productivity is the main channel that underlies the impact of climate change to food inflation, according to courts. And well, and that is it from the international news this morning.
Well, it seems like it's boiling everywhere.
It is.
And that pun is intended. Boiling climate-wise, boiling political-wise here in Uganda. And that's very interesting. Now we delve into the press review, and Sonkandai will be taking you through that, starting with the New Vision, which has a big pictorial of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba and says General Muhoozi, new CDF. For more details, you'll find that story in the New Vision. But also, Museveni fires 5 ministers, and some of the faces, like Agnes Nandutu, are pasted there at the front page of the New Vision. Now, UPC's Aguti wins Dokolo. And in the bit, Miss and Mr. Bukede finalists, you'll find those inside the New Vision. And moving on to Daily Monitor, it has the same pictorial of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba and says return of the general. Muhoozi's footprints in new ministers. That's what the Daily Monitor is saying. And UPC's Aguti wins Dokolo woman member of parliament by election. And the Lizard says, has generator been switched on now? Well, whatever the lizard means. And of course, plenty of juice.
It's normally called the standby generator.
Oh, interesting. Well, there are plenty of jobs in the Daily Monitor today. And of course, in Scoop, that is the weekend magazine, it says a music creative safe with artificial intelligence. And Senyonyi in Parliament Cash Bonanza. That and more you will find in the Daily Monitor. Now, Jerome Paul Sonko is taking us across the borders in Kenya and Tanzania.
And well, in Kenya, the Daily Nation is highlighting new taxes in 16 trillion Kenya shillings plan. Fourth medium-term plan for 2023 to 2027 has been released. The pictorial of the central bank governor and, of course, President William Ruto at the front page of the Daily Nation. Rather, the secretary to the Treasury is the one with the President William Ruto. And, of course, you can read about that in the Daily Nation. Then, Hail the Queen. Oktokoi wins Africa Games gold. That is in sport. Then also, Y State is mulling a TikTok ban for civil servants. As Easter meets Ramadan, here's what to expect at the cost of Mombasa. Read about that in the Daily Nation. Now, in matters health, no end in sight for doctors' strike. More of that is in the Daily Nation, as they also predict tough times ahead for the Kenyans. Now, lastly, from our press review, the Citizen newspaper in Tanzania, businesses see brighter future amid tax unease. Story is on page 2 of the Citizen. Then fresh bid to rebrand East Africa for energy investments. More of that is still in the Citizen today, as new subject combos raise queries on teachers in Tanzania. That and more is in the Citizen. Also, LATRA introduces longer commuter bus routes. Read about the transportation sector in Tanzania, still with the Citizen giving you details. Now, in matters sport, Yanga offer 36,000 free tickets for the Mamelodi match. Read about that. And lastly, the Rising Woman Citizen series for Palingo. It's all about the ability to work under pressure and satisfying clients. More of that is in the Citizen. And that is it from our press review this Friday.
Well, this Friday has started off on a high note, and what we do on the Friday special is take you even on a higher note. So please stick with us. We are going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with a topical discussion in our newsreel. Studies show that more and more men are entrusting their wives or their women and partners as their
Inspirational profiles.
Having disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m. It's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja, a documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We are the same people and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people.
We are one.
Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word, pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2024 at the National Theatre and Indere Center. Daily screenings are from 4th February to June 2024 at Ham Cinemax and the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss a critical topic that could potentially save lives. The top 10 signs of a heart attack. It's crucial to be aware of these warning signals and act promptly. Before we start, please remember that this information is not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you suspect a heart attack, seek emergency medical attention immediately. Number 1. Chest pain or discomfort. The most common symptom of a heart attack is chest pain or discomfort. It may feel like squeezing, fullness, pressure, or pain in the center of the chest. This sensation can last for more than a few minutes or may come and go. Number 2. Shortness of breath. Shortness of breath is another significant sign. If you're having difficulty breathing or experiencing sudden and unexplained shortness of breath, it could be a warning signal. Number 3. Upper body discomfort. Pain or discomfort in the arms, neck, jaw, back, or stomach can also be indicative of a heart attack. Pay attention to any unusual discomfort in these areas. Number 4. Nausea or vomiting. Some people may experience nausea or vomiting during a heart attack. If you're feeling sick to your stomach without an apparent cause, consider it a potential warning sign. Number 5. Cold sweats. Sudden cold sweats, clammy skin, or a feeling of lightheadedness can be signs that your heart is under stress. Don't ignore these symptoms. They may indicate a heart attack is underway. Number 6. Fatigue. Unexplained and extreme fatigue.
My goodness, what is not happening here? We have two amazing artists that are going to be performing for us this morning on the GMU Friday special. And the first one with me here is Naki Julian. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Uganda. We are glad to have you. And I was listening to you, going through your vocals as you prepare to serenade us into the weekend. All right. And all I'm saying is sit tight and get entertained. We will be having a conversation with Naki later on. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, here is Naki Julian.
Good morning, Uganda. And this is Naki Julian. Since we're in the Lent season, the Lent period, I'd like to worship with you this morning. I don't know your favorite hymn, but I'm going to sing several of them, lines or maybe verses or choruses. I came with Salongo and the keys, and it's going to help us out. Jesus, how I trust you, how I've proved you over and over. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust you more. When we walk with the Lord in the light of His love, what a glory He sheds on our way. While we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because He first loved me. Gamwagala Yesu, Gamwagala Yesu, Gamwagala Yesu, Yasoko kwagaze. There is a name I love to sing, I love to speak. It's a word, it sounds like music in my ears, the sweetest name on earth. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because He first loved me. Nendowozo musalaba Mukama gwe afirako Obugaga ono bwensi Nendaba ngate ulimu Kabachendo mutosha Denire bibi yanche Hatine chakubasa Kuniha obusasi Nisimo musaraba Dashima yabaziza Ariko chane chane Dashima umwami Yesu When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, what a glory He sheds on the way. While we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. 'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take Him at His word, just to rest upon His promise, just to know that save the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust you, how I've proved you over and over. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, and oh, for grace to trust you more. Holy words, long preserved for our walk in this world, they resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Ancient words, ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Words of life, words of faith, give us strength, help us cope in this world where we're wrong. Ancient words will guide us home. Ancient words, ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with all
Topic of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m. it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja, a documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We are the same people, and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people.
We are one.
Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word, pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2024 at the National Theatre and Indere Center. Daily screenings are from 4th February to June 2024 at Ham Cinemax and the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights, and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Taking care of your bones is like giving your body a solid foundation for a healthy and active life. And now, let's dive into practical advice that you can easily weave into your daily routine, ensuring your bones stay strong and support you every step of the way. Number 1. Adequate calcium intake. Calcium is crucial for bone health. Include calcium-rich foods in your diet, such as dairy products, leafy green vegetables, tofu, and fortified foods. If needed, consider calcium supplements, but consult with your healthcare provider first. Number 2. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is necessary for the absorption of calcium. Spend time outdoors to get natural sunlight and include vitamin D-rich foods in your diet, such as fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified foods. If necessary, your healthcare provider may recommend vitamin D supplements. Number 3. Regular weight-bearing exercise. Engage in weight-bearing exercises like walking, jogging, dancing, or strength training. These activities help stimulate bone formation and maintain bone density. Number 4. Quit smoking. Smoking has been linked to lower bone density and an increased risk of fractures. Quitting smoking is beneficial for overall health, including bone health. Number 5. Limit alcohol consumption. Excessive alcohol consumption can negatively impact bone health. If you drink alcohol, do so in moderation. The recommended limit is 1 drink per day for women and 2 drinks or less per day for men. Number 6. Maintain a healthy body weight. Being underweight can contribute to bone loss, so it's important to maintain a healthy body weight. However, extreme dieting or excessive weight loss can also be detrimental to bone health, so aim for a balanced approach. Number 7. Bone density testing. Discuss with your healthcare provider if you should have a bone density test to assess your risk for osteoporosis. The results can help guide interventions to prevent bone loss. Number 8. Monitor medications. Some medications, such as certain steroids and certain anticonvulsants, can affect bone health. If you are on long-term medication, discuss potential effects on bone density with your healthcare provider. Number 9. Balance and fall prevention. Take steps to prevent falls, as fractures can significantly impact bone health. This includes maintaining a clutter-free home, using handrails, wearing appropriate footwear, and addressing any issues with balance. Number 10. Healthy diet. Ensure a well-balanced diet that includes an adequate intake of nutrients essential for bone health, such as magnesium, phosphorus, vitamin K, and vitamin C. Your bones support you every day. Now, it's time to give them the care they deserve. As you embark on this journey, know that a commitment to bone health is a gift to your future self, a promise of strength, resilience, and a life well lived. Thanks for joining us today. This program is produced by Sani Productions, powered by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, what is happening in the country? From the words of Sonko Masavu Merere, buli kimu kye tulaba right now is boiling. Omuganda agamba kitokota si kisaanikire, but we are saying it's boiling uncovered. But we move on from the politics of the country and the new promotions and, of course, demotions, because some people were dropped, and now focus into matters family. Now, it is said that more men assign spouses as next of kin than women. That's the conversation we are having today. Is it still believed by women that their money is their money and the men's money is for everyone? You know, they usually say, my money is my money, your money is our money. Is this why are more men trusting their wives to be next of kin, whereas women, a very huge chunk of them, do not trust their men to be their next of kin? Well, my name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am with Naki Julian, a gospel artist that has been serenading us and will serenade us even further. And of course, she has so much more coming your way. She will be sharing that with us later on. But of course, the other person we are with today is none other than the owner of the phrase Masavu Merere, that is JP Live. Good morning, Julian.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am fine.
Yeah.
Now, it so turns out that my gender, which is your gender,
Yeah.
and this happens to be Women's Month,
Yeah.
but it is said that more men trust their women to be their next of kin compared to the women. It is said that at least 90% of married men feel their wives as next of kin compared to 30% for women. And this is according to Mr. Sim Katende Sempe of Katende Sempewa Advocates. He's a partner there, and he's the head of corporate and commercial department. Now, this is a lawyer. So I believe that he has dealt with maybe different issues. Let's say when someone passes on and then they go to follow up for letters of administration and to see how to divide the estate and find the wives as next of kin compared to the men. Now, I'll go back to you, and I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Why 90%, 30%? The numbers are stuck up there. And does it mean that women do not trust their husbands? Why do you think they do not enlist them as next of kin?
I kind of disagree with those statistics because lately even our husbands' men have been entrusting their mothers as next of kin.
You remind me of a footballer.
Some have been entrusting their children as the next of kin. So I kind of disagree with that. Maybe there is a certain age group that we are talking about, but today, that percentage, I don't think.
So you're disagreeing with the statistics?
Yes,
now,
I do disagree.
In your opinion, let's be honest. Actually, before we even go to next of kin, let's look at how relationships usually occur and how people carry themselves around money. Do you mean to say that, first of all, women are open with their money in relationships? And let me actually zero down to now partnerships or maybe marriages. Are women really, truly open with their money to their partners?
Not all of them. I should say it could be a 40% to a 60% these days. 40%
that
really
leaves you with
share.
60% who don't share.
Yeah, these days, yes.
Okay. So what are some of the reasons as to why some women would rather not share be open about finances?
I think it
with
is
their
about
partners?
there's been a lot of mistrust. For example, someone finds maybe the husband has more than one spouse, and then the wife is saying, no way, there is no way I'm sharing in case I'm gone. And then the other party is going to come in and start enjoying my efforts as a wife. Or the family around, maybe sometimes it's influence, friends.
The
Oh, me,
lady's
I don't.
family.
Oh, yes, I don't tell my husband. Okay, if you don't tell, then I think it's also appropriate for me to keep quiet about my finances. And these days, it's about being strategic. Yes.
Well, when Julian, when I hear words like strategic, women anymore.
That word.
So women, but doesn't that go away from what marriage is supposed to be?
Definitely.
Because what are you building if you are hiding your finances? You do not trust your partner enough to be your next of kin. But this is the person you lay with every night. This is the person you've created a family with. So your relatives forever, even when you separate. So isn't this where marriage starts to go away from what it was supposed to be from the very beginning?
Yes, it is. It is going away, but by the grace of God, it will maybe get back in line. But the thing is, people have... What is the foundation of relating with the person? You see, people meet this week and the next month they are getting married.
Does time really matter?
Yes, it does. It does, because the person you haven't grown up with, we are so different. We are very different people. So with the different mannerisms and characteristics, you need to study a person and know. Of course, not for long.
Because someone may say you're trying to get a microscope into
because
your
when a man, for example, Masavu Merere, comes my way, the first thing is what he sees.
Yes.
Oh, Julian is beautiful, Julian is light-skinned, Julian is... But...
What is Julian underneath?
When I realize that, okay, Masavu Merere, okay, likes me, I'm going to first try and hide all my weaknesses, all my mannerisms, getting angry, being selfish, all those things, and I'll act all lovey-dovey, And then Masavo Merere will fall in the trap and say, you know what, next month, I want to go to your parents. And so by the time he realizes that, oh my God, it was just, you know, it will be, we will have wedded. There is no way going out. And then he'll say, there is no way I am trusting this woman to be my next of kin. You see, so it takes time, I think. It needs time.
Well, interesting conversation here. And you can be a part of this conversation by sharing your opinions on why women, more and more women, it is reported that 30% of women do not enlist their husbands as next of kin, yet 90% of men trust their wives or their partners to be their next of kin. You can share your views through WhatsApp number 0709602592, and on the X app you can WhatsApp, or you can text us or follow this conversation on the X app through hashtag UBCGMU. You can also send text messages still on the number 0709602592. Would like to hear from you. And now I go to the man that has been today given a name, Masavo Merere. Good morning, Sonko.
Well, good morning to you once again.
Yes. Now, Sonko, this is a conversation. I actually first saw this study and these statistics on your status updates, but then the conversation has been going on in different realms of social media like X, like WhatsApp groups, and now we are having, in the mainstream media, there was an article, and now we are here. And I'll dive right in. Why do you think that men can't trust their wives or partners, 90% of men, to be next of kin, and yet only 30% of women trust their men to be the next of kin? Why do you think we have this huge difference among the sexes?
First of all, you get to realize that also the men have what to put to the next of kin.
Okay.
Or what, let me say, they do have assets, if that is the right word to use, to actually attach. Not so many of the women, you know, not so many of the women have so much to assign to the men. And then there is also an element of fear, because some women have fear that if at all things go south, or in case, unfortunately, she passes on, the chances are there will be a new woman in the life of her husband. And then the worry will be, where will her children go to? I think the good thing is that I'm having two ladies right here with this topic. I want to believe most of the times, once a woman gives birth, most of our attention is highly taken to the child or to their children. Now they start focusing on nurturing their children. And when you look out for most of the mothers, they tend to, you know, build their future around creating a safe growth, or, you know, kind of room for their children to grow. So that means all their belongings, all their wealth ends up being taken by their children. So they end up having that fear that if at all I woke up and assigned my wealth to, let's say, my husband, what will happen if at all I am dead per se? Will my children survive if there is a new woman in the house? And then the other side, there's also an argument of the fact that women are naturally selfish.
Oh, really? Are they?
Know, when you interact with many, you realize that at times a woman would still say, even when a woman is earning more than the man is earning, there is always expectation for the man to always step up when it comes to provision. And so that means the woman will actually see it as non-feminine for her to actually assign some of her, you know, to actually have her man as the next of kin when she still has siblings. Some of them actually would consider siblings, or when she even has children, because in most cases women consider their children more than their spouses for matters that really differ. And then also you look at the fact that why is such a statistic, you know, prevailing and also increasing. You also get to realize that most men ideally driven to their women more than anything else. Because when you look at, you know, even in nature, a man is supposed to leave his family to go and create their own family. And in most cases, you've also realized that a man will first take care of his own family before he considers where he's coming from. Apart from the Muslim men, by the way, and this is very evident, most of the Muslim men first empower where they are from before they go on to empower their own families, because they believe the other was the reason as to why they are where they are. But when you look at most of the Christian families, and where I'm actually zeroing it to Christianity is because I've grown up under Christianity, and I've been able to actually see these things happen. You find out that most men are so drawn to their women, even when it comes to businesses. Most men prefer to share their business secrets with their women or with their wives. They would rather, you know, share a secret, a password with their wives than with, you know, with a best friend or, let's say, family. Because at the end of the day, you expect that if at all you are sharing the same matrimonial bed with this person, they've not only become your best friend, but even the Bible says it right, even during you know, the taking of the oath, that two will become one.
Yes.
So that means most of the men took this too personal, that they feel now they are secure if their women are actually their next of kin. And then also you don't blame them, and I'm actually glad you've not even blamed. You get to realize that some men also have it in their minds that if at all I am away, or if I am dead, the only person who is going to take care of my children is my wife. And it's very evident. You know, we've seen how relatives shun away from taking responsibility of their own blood, especially after the death of the father. So most of these things, I think, are more to do with nature and how men are so, you know, driven towards their women and how much they trust them.
Well, Julian did mention something, and she said, what was the foundation of the relationship? How long did you get to know this person before you got to propose and make them your wife? And I'll still go back to you, Sonko. Do you think that the time spent courting has a lot to do with how women turn out, with the level of trust that is there, or it is just the nature, like you said, that sometimes women can be really selfish?
If there is a male viewer who can actually comment on this, I want to, you know, from a man's perspective, it is very easy to interact with 10 females and you know who you want to, you know, to end up with.
And they normally tell us that you gentlemen know from the onset. From
the onset. That's why at times you'll find after a man has actually, you know, broken up with a certain girlfriend, most of them end up never regaining their momentum. Or there's always that woman who always shapes their mind. It's either after they've actually broken up, you see a man naming one of his children the name of the ex-girlfriend.
And the new wife has no idea.
The new wife has, because most men don't, you'll actually sit down with a man and he tells you the name of my first daughter was the name of the other lady I once dated, and they broke, you know.
The audacity.
Exactly. So, and these things happen. So clearly for the men during courtship, by the way, it is, it goes back to what most women say, that the relationships normally work when the man loves and respects you, or when the man loves you more. Simply because they know is that even in the African setting, men were born to hunt, to hunt for. And why I'm actually putting it in that way is that for men normally know who they want to end up with all odds. It's not brainer at times for most of the men. They will actually sit down and have 5 options, even during courtship, but they will definitely know I am ending up with maybe option 2, option 3.
So, Sonko, it's upon that background that some women, because according to this study that was done by the National Social Security Fund that came out with these statistics, that 90% of men trust their wives to be next of kin, whereas the women, 30% only trust their husbands to be next of kin. So there is a huge difference. But according to NSSF, they say that in the study, among the reasons that were raised by women is that men are naturally wanderers. So these men trust their ladies to be next of kin when they die, so that they can continue with the family legacy. And like you said, most men believe that my wife will be the only person in the corner for my children. But women have a fear that since men are naturally wanderers, there is what Julian said earlier, that sometimes they will take on a second wife, even when you're alive, okay? But then there is also the case of, in most cases, when the wife passes on before the husband, men tend to remarry first. Now, they say, the ladies say, if I trust him to be my next of kin, and I leave everything I have worked for over the years to him, there is a likely chance that he might end up sharing these with his new wife, and their new children,
it's very
and my
evident
children
with,
are left out.
with stories we are seeing of females who go and work in the Middle East, where he leaves the husband back home and she's sending money to build. And then on returning after 2-4 years,
the man
has already remarried, using the exact money this female was actually sending. So you get to see where the insecurities come from.
I hear what you're saying. And there is a story of a gentleman I saw. They had been married for 23 years, and then the wife passes on in a car accident, and she left. It is during the will. First of all, he didn't know she had a will. Then the mother-in-law informs him she left a will. Turns out the lady was really well invested and rich. She was a secondary school teacher who grew through the ranks and became a principal. And then she had invested a lot, so she had like a good amount of money. But when the will was read, everything was left in the names of her 3 children to her mother and 2 sisters, and the husband didn't get anything. So in as much as we say that men are naturally wanderers, like I said earlier, where is the trust? If we cannot, what should be done to ensure that the trust is back in families, where 2 people can work together and trust each other to take care of their legacy, to move forward with the legacy when one passes? Julian.
First of all, being a Christian, there's a hymn that says that when we walk with the Lord, let us all thrive to walk with the Lord and trust him first. Because man cannot be trusted 100%.
That's true.
Truth be told. Even when you think, oh, this man is the most wonderful angel I've met on earth, my dear, he will do one thing and he will say, goodness, why do I exist? So let us trust God and always go back to him in case of anything, because God speaks. Isn't it, Masabo? God speaks. God speaks, and he will show you that, he'll give us direction according to his word. That's what he says, the trust in the Lord with all your heart and with all your mind. So first of all, let us trust God.
Let us trust God. Okay. And Jerome Paul Sonko, what do you think? I'll throw the same question back at you. What do you think needs to be done so that there can be trust in families? Because it's really disheartening that 2 people who share the most valuable thing in this earth, and that is children, cannot trust themselves when it comes to money.
Money is the root cause of all evil.
And yet it answers all things.
Exactly.
And the Lord tells us in the Bible not to be poor.
Exactly. And when we say it's the root cause of all evil, it really gives us a picture of where we are as a generation. And at times, it is very difficult to tell who your person is. Because today you will know someone in the first 5 years, but then there will be a new revelation of this person in about 5 years.
Because if you remember, your SST or CRE, change is a fact of life.
Exactly, it is a fact of life. And the biggest worry is the fact that even as of today, families are breaking up. And some people are actually more worried about that entire fact that families are breaking up, even before they get into the marriage space. So that is why many are worried. So they would rather come in with only a feet in and 1 foot, rather with only 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So that they have a backup plan. People are actually getting into marriages today with an element that I can easily run out.
That using brains.
So it's no longer let me go wholeheartedly. No, People are scared of things we don't know about.
Okay, and today, with the advent of, you know, family structures have changed. And I actually get asked when children are given homework and it is who heads a home. Yes, it is the father. But we need to be, in my opinion, I think that we need to actually be more practical and embrace the new families that have come to the fore. They are single parent families, headed by a single father, headed by a single mother. But if you're telling a child who doesn't see another parent in the home that the father heads the home, I don't know, but that's another conversation. But still, it was bringing me to the other factor. Many women are involved in the small scale businesses, in that small, in SMC, in the SME sector. And you'll find that even in the agricultural sector, many women are tilling the land, and they are now coming up with the produce, and then later on the men are going to sell the produce and take the money. When you go to the markets, you're going to find that maybe 80 to 90%, most of the vendors are women. Now, these women are struggling with all this money, and then we have a new breed of men that are not working hard enough to take care of the family. Should we ask this woman to allow this man to have 100% control of what she has worked hard for?
I believe.
It will depend on the two individuals and what took you into, you know, before we went on air, we were actually discussing the fact that today people are marrying for purpose.
Yes.
And I once mentioned here that today people should know that a relationship is a transaction. It is sad, but it is. It is a transaction of energy, it's a transaction of what am I getting from you.
Time.
And it's way away from the cores. The many factors that actually keep relationships going today, love is the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Actually, I like, sorry to interject a bit, I like that you mentioned that love is the bare minimum, because when you speak to our grandparents, that's what exactly they say, right? Please continue.
So I think we've got to go back to the drawing board of you. There was a video I once saw of two rich people trying to, you know, organize a relationship between the both of them. It was, you know, a video from the West, a man and a female, and they were actually having conversations of how many times they're supposed to go on a date, who is supposed to take care of the children more, who is supposed to be away for a long time,
where they're supposed to go for vacation.
So theirs was more like a deal, an agreement,
so,
a memorandum. So
are you saying that we should now start looking at relationships with that kind of mindset?
No, I think with this kind of generation is actually called a woke generation, I hear. That it's a generation of people who are open-minded and the like, only when it comes to things like this. But I think when we're going into relationships, we need to know what we want at the get-go. And as much as we continue to say communication is highly important, you need to find kind people, but you need to also understand how far are the both of you going. Today, you're seeing families of people with children, but they no longer even communicate. People are actually having children amongst themselves, but they no longer communicate.
Yeah.
One of the, either way, the father is no longer even contributing to the school fees and the well-being of the children because of matters that actually transpired, and they failed to actually work on them. So it goes back to the quality of the human being you desire to meet or you desire to start a life with. Because when you're in courtship, ideally the thing is you're trying to look for someone you're going to do life with.
That's the
and
idea.
It's exactly. So you're looking for someone you're going to do life with for a long term, not the short run. Because if it's a short run, there are so many things that will be at play. You won't be putting all your focus on there.
I personally think that young people today, our generation, enters marriage with the end in mind, and that's not how the generations before us entered marriage. That's not the mindset they had, because if you create an exit point or a plan B, then definitely there will be a situation that will make you want to run to the plan B. But if it is plan A, I'm here to stay. But now today, of course, there are wider conversations about separation and divorce. But I have a few views coming through, and this one is from this one is streaming live, Asiku Monday, streaming live from Maracha. And he says, I think men trust their women as next of kin because they think when they are no more, it's the woman who can take proper care of the children, as many relatives would scramble for the property left by their son or brother. So it's good to trust your woman. Then he says about women not trusting their men it is the fact that most men are unpredictable. They can marry another woman any time. Thank you so much, Asiko. And then this one says, sometimes the source of money could be the main factor. So what he's trying to say, where are the women getting the money from? Maybe where they're getting the money from can't allow them to, you know, include their partners. And then this one is Derek Gagamel, cricket Derek Gagamel from Makindye, Luafu. And he says, good morning, Olive, JP, and Jillian. In most cases, financially, it's easier for a man to trust a woman, but it's very hard for a woman to trust a man financially. And he says, surprisingly, in a relationship, women can surrender their lives to men and do whatever it takes, unlike men, but with money, things turn the other way round. I still can't figure out the fear for women to trust their men with money. Is it greed, lack of trust, home competition, or what? I heard of a couple which was renting for 10 years till the man found out that the house they were renting belongs to his wife, and he ends with, God have mercy. Well, this conversation is going to end right here, but I'll throw in an opinion of my own. Why is your wife building a house and for you you're not? Why? Why? Young King.
Why is she hiding it from you? It clearly shows you that the relationship is not ending anywhere.
Trust
Because
issues.
if someone is actually doing something like that behind your back,
yeah,
then big signs. Really.
It could also mean that, Young King, you're lazy and you're not focused.
No, unless you should tell me
Conversation
she's
continues offline. I know I've set off Sonko. This is a ticking time bomb, but we are still here, and when we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we will be with voice music to serenade us with his vocals into this weekend that we are heading into. For now, let's take a short break.
UPC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja, a documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We are the same people, and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people. We are one. Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word, pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2024 at the National Theatre and Indere Center. Daily screenings are from 4th February to June 2024 at Ham Cinemax and the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights, and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Taking care of your bones is like giving your body a solid foundation for a healthy and active life. And now, Let's dive into practical advice that you can easily weave into your daily routine, ensuring your bones stay strong and support you every step of the way. Number 1. Adequate calcium intake. Calcium is crucial for bone health. Include calcium-rich foods in your diet, such as dairy products, leafy green vegetables, tofu, and fortified foods. If needed, consider calcium supplements, but consult with your healthcare provider first. Number 2. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is necessary for the absorption of calcium. Spend time outdoors to get natural sunlight and include vitamin D-rich foods in your diet, such as fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified foods. If necessary, your healthcare provider may recommend vitamin D supplements. Number 3. Regular weight-bearing exercise. Engage in weight-bearing exercises like walking, jogging, dancing, or strength training. These activities help stimulate bone formation and maintain bone density. Number 4. Quit smoking. Smoking has been linked to lower bone density and an increased risk of fractures. Quitting smoking is beneficial for overall health, including bone health. Number 5. Limit alcohol consumption. Excessive alcohol consumption can negatively impact bone health. If you drink alcohol, do so in moderation. The recommended limit is 1 drink per day for women and 2 drinks or less per day for men. Number 6. Maintain a healthy body weight. Being underweight can contribute to bone loss, so it's important to maintain a healthy body weight. However, extreme dieting or excessive weight loss can also be detrimental to bone health, so aim for a balanced approach. Number 7. Bone density testing. Discuss with your healthcare provider if you should have a bone density test to assess your risk for osteoporosis. The results can help guide interventions to prevent bone loss. Number 8. Monitor medications. Some medications, such as certain steroids and certain anticonvulsants, can affect bone health. If you are on long-term medication, discuss potential effects on bone density with your healthcare provider. Number 9. Balance and fall prevention. Take steps to prevent falls, as fractures can significantly impact bone health. This includes maintaining a clutter-free home, using handrails, wearing appropriate footwear, and addressing any issues with balance. Number 10. Healthy diet. Ensure a well-balanced diet that includes an adequate intake of nutrients essential for bone health, such as magnesium, phosphorus, vitamin K, and vitamin C. Your bones support you every day. Now, it's time to give them the care they deserve. As you embark on this journey, know that a commitment to bone health is a gift to your future self, a promise of strength, resilience, and a life well lived. Thanks for joining us today. This program is produced by Sani Productions, powered by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
All right, we are here. Friday is here, and so is Good Morning Uganda Friday edition. And well, our Friday edition is normally one that is filled up with entertainment, information, and news. But most probably entertainment, simply because it's a Friday, and you and I definitely know what happens on a Friday in the Ugandan setting. The Ugandan culture literally gives us a Friday mood. Though we are in fasting, we are in the fasting season, Ramadan and Lent, but that does not stop us from giving you that entertainment that can steer up your weekend. And so, this particular moment, I do have another artist here in studio who is going to entertain you. And of course, if you're just waking up or you're just taking breakfast, I hope his vocals can lighten up your mood, depending on how you woke up though. And the artist I do have here is Voice Music. He's in studio here and he's going to entertain us in just a minute. Hi, good morning, Voice Music.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Okay, welcome to Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Just a quick one. What do you have for our viewers this morning?
Just as my name sounds, I'm having music.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, Voice Music is having some good music for you today. Why not? Let me give him the space to make sure that you feel entertained and you can feel his music right from Broadcast House to your living room. Voice Music, do your thing.
Nazigaza bifaananyi byensiige vidani naye nafuuka futomani. I feel I lose my mind. Uzalina ombuyanya kwemanye nojeni nzijjudde kutya ntumira omufaasa abalala nagana tebansana zijjukira ebyo bye waŋŋamba bye wandayirira mukwano kuli bakufa era nkusuubiza forever nandibaŋŋanize ggwe mama wange eyo gy'olinze nga ntidde ndasanze eby'obudde Say, when I mpita baby mami ngampita baby darling nasigaza bifaananyi byensiige vidani naye nafuuka fotomani I feel I lose my mind. Uzalina ombuyanya kwemanye nojeni zijjudde kutya ntumira omufaasa abalala nagana tebansana zijjukira ebyo bye waŋŋamba. Kasale kakuma nayo sana mundu eyo yoka oli mulungi wenna tolina wakukyama era kulinamu essuubi weka bami bambi tokyuka nyamba bambitula nguwulira ebyange byonna wemba nkyamiza ontereeza oli mulungi wenna olinga gwe bakuttako nze sirina kye nkugamba. Hello obudde bugenda. Hello, pick up your phone. You say hello, tugende. Say, oli omu nyirira olinga egaali empya. Nkulabe nguleka ne Katonda yakwesimisa omasamasa mu bitonde bye batonda. Efaanana weka oli mulungi wenna olinga gwe bakuttako sirina kye nkugamba. Hello hello, hello. Oyagala nkugambe ntya kyempulira okimanye ngamba oba oyagala abadiguli nze nzireyo nsome amaziga onkabiza na buli kimu nkikoze lwaki tonyamba naawe yampa olunaku ngulabe kirabika otitemu kunesiga kadira banze bontunuulira nze gulaba ng'omuyekera kirabika otidemu kunesiga kadira banze bontunuulira nze gulaba ng'omuyekera simanyi kutugumbula weyoyongera kunyumirwa kyokka nze wankyankalanya pira wansula mulavu ate erabayo bonewala bino gwe yabitandika maliriza byewatandika netegereza kusaba tuzibiriza kale singa nsobola omutima gukubikulira nenkulaga era nokakasa nokimanya byeŋŋamba sikulimba singa osobola otunula munda mu mutima n'olaba kyobeera enosuula mu bbangalo mu mutima gwange wazimba kololo kirabika otidemu kunesiga katira banze buntunuulira nze gulaba ng'omuyekera oyagala nkugambe ntya kyempulira okimanye ngamba oba oyagala abadiguli nze nzireyo nsome amaziga onkabiza na buli kimu nkikoze lwaki tonyamba naawe yampa olunaku ngulabe oyongera kunyumira bulamu bwo kyokka nze wankyankalanya jjukira wansuula mulavu ate erabayo bonewala gwe yabitandika maliriza byewatandika tegereza nguzaba tozibiriza recordinga kyengenda okugira wano singa bukyenebanirabiza playing era onyambo nzijukize iyo obutatala bukye ninakyo taimwekende birungi nebiferinga naye nze gyoli sijja kutya olingana werecordinga kyengenda okugira wano singa bukyenebanirabiza playinga era onyambo nzijukize iyo obutatala bukyerina kyoli taimwekende birungi nebiferinga naye nze gyoli sijja kutya erinnya lyonna lisitwa nze eyo gwe birungi anika ngonyirira nanduba owulira ku mutima your love will make you out of mine oli professional magician kukwendaba oli lawyer, oli pastor, ngayimba gali doctor, oli professional magician, so I see. Oli actor, mzi action, films and say, ogwanira kuyita baby, ogwana kuwachira maybe daily. I can never let go. When I never bizaba basoka. Nabe banji na yatekwe nawe mbuzi samani dali love mbuzi samana mbuzi saplani kawaida tebalina bye batugamba oli professional magician gwendaba oli lawyer oli pastor Magali doctor, only professional magician, so I see. Only a thumbs the action.
it from Voice Music. Great vocals, and of course, I do hope you've been ably entertained. But before I let him go, I would wish to know how we can get to find him if he's not in studio here. If you want to book him for any performance, how can you follow up with him? How can you get to contact him? Voice, how can a viewer out there who wants to have you on an event get to you or reach out to you? And then also, what are your social media handles?
Of course, I started music professionally. Yeah, and my music is uploaded everywhere. And someone can get me via Twitter, Instagram, yeah, and Facebook. There, I think is the easiest way to get someone.
Okay,
yeah.
And what are the handles like?
Like where my music is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's uploaded everywhere.
No, I'm saying your handles, like, is it Voice Music or
I'm Voice Music everywhere. Voice Music, music with Chu.
Okay,
yeah.
And anyone wants to book you for, let's say, a performance, how do they reach out to you?
Actually, I have someone who I deal with.
Okay.
I call him a friend of mine. Yeah, he's next kin of me.
Okay.
So we do everything together.
All right. And I hope you've liked the performance coming in from Voice Music. You can follow him on the handles, Twitter, Instagram, Voice Music, as well as TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay, at Voice Music. And music this time around with a Q?
Yeah, music with Q.
Okay, music with a Q. And of course, music with a Q, not C, if you are to look for Voice Music. And I hope you've been ably entertained. Now, Friday does continue though, because we are here to make sure that you are inspired. Now, coming up is Ruben Pima with the latest from the world of sport. So stick around because more is yet to come. Good morning.
Is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja, a documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We are the same people, and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people. We are one. Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word, pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2024 at the National Theatre and Indere Center. Daily screenings are from 4th February to June 2024 at Ham Cinemax and the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights, and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently up PM with Joram Paul Sonko only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.